Good afternoon. We're going to talk about the accountability and assessment updates for Tennessee Public Ed today. First of all, we'll look at what's happening with the test results from the tests that we did take last year. We're going to look at how teacher evaluations will be impacted, and we'll look at what's going to happen this coming year with assessment. First of all, for the tests that we actually did successfully complete last year, we'll be looking for results in the early fall. Case 2 assessments should be available, and those will come just as we've seen in the past through Pearson Access. We will get the hard copy reports, including the home reports that will be sent home with students when they are available. To see the school reports and the class reports, you can go to Pearson Access, which is a secure site, and it requires administrative credentials to see results. For the high school end of course and TN Ready assessments, those results should also be available in early fall, hopefully October. How those can be used for formative purposes is yet to be determined. It depends on when we receive them and how they look. So we will proceed with plans for this year without those, without that information, and then when we do get them, we'll use them as we can to help drive our instruction and see what worked and what didn't work last year. The TVAS teacher effect and school level and district level reports should also be available in the fall, possibly October. That will be, those scores will come for those teachers in first and second grade, as well as teachers of end of course subjects in the high schools. Now, if you're in a grade or subject where there was no test, keep in mind that you could get results from you could get accountability from the school level or district level reports. You may also have that score omitted from a portion of your final score. So those final levels of effectiveness, or LOEs, for teacher will be available on TN Compass once the achievement measure data has been entered and everything is finalized. So if you selected graduation rate, which many people did once it became an option, as your 15% achievement measure, or a district or school-wide TVAS as your 15% achievement measure, those scores will not become final until the fall, probably October, when we get everything in. Grad rate isn't finalized usually until late September at the very earliest, more likely October. So keeping in mind that the governor did institute the evaluation flexibility for teachers, your final LOEs will be calculated several different ways, with and without TVAS. So if your individual TVAS score and or the school-wide or district-wide score improves your level of effectiveness, it will be used. Also, your score will be calculated with previous TVAS data. From all the different ways it's calculated, the highest one will become your final level of effectiveness. So nothing from TN Ready will hurt your score in any way this year. This also includes K2 and the science test that was not TN Ready last year. And more information and some sample calculations are available through the link I've listed here with the guidance on evaluation flexibility. Now, how do you know how many evaluations will be required this year if we don't have the final LOEs? Well, that's going to be a little tricky. However, the classroom observation averages, which includes the professionalism rubric and the 15% achievement measure, if it's already available, are already in TN Compass. So your final scores can be estimated even without the current TVAS scores, because we know that these TVAS scores will not decrease the final LOE because of the flexibility. So if you had an average of a 3.5 for your classroom observations and your 15% was from an off-the-shelf assessment and it was a 4, then you know that the minimum your final LOE will be is something like a 3.7, which would round up to a 4. So you can use that information to guide the determination for the number of evaluations required. So the assessment plans for 2016, we welcome Questar to the state of Tennessee. Our State Department of Education has contracted with Questar to create and score all of the English language arts and math tests for grades 2 through 12. This is a national leader in large-scale assessments and have been used in multiple other states, including Mississippi and New York, North Dakota, and I understand from the extensive research that was done by the department that they've checked many resources on Questar and feel good about the new relationship. Now, the science and social studies assessments will be created by Educational Testing Services this year, and they will be scored by Questar. Just looking at Questar's website, they claim to be a K-12 assessment provider that focuses on providing a bridge between accountability and learning. To achieve this goal, they research, design, and manage innovative assessment programs for states and LEAs, develop technologies to make assessments more efficient and effective, and take pride in providing a high-touch experience to gain and keep the utmost level of trust. I think the key word there is trust. Because of the issues last year with the assessment in Tennessee, educators and parents have lost faith in the system. So Questar certainly has their work cut out for them here to rebuild that and to give teachers and administrators and students a positive experience with assessment this year. So who all will test? This is essentially the same as we've experienced in the past, with the exception of kindergarten and first grade. All students in grades 3 through 8 will test in English language arts, mathematics, science, and social studies, which will only be a field test this year. It will not be scored. High school students enrolled in Algebra 1, 2, Geometry, Biology 1, Chemistry 1, English 1, 2, 3, and U.S. History. All tests in grades 2 through 8, will be on paper. High schools may have the option to take their assessments online if early tests of the online platform demonstrate success. And even if early tests are successful, districts will still have the option of paper tests in high schools. When will students test? Well, that's another change from last year. There will be one administration toward the end of the school year or semester, one window that will be 3 weeks, and for 2016-17, that window will be April 17th through May 5th. High school fall block will test between November 28th and December 16th. There will not be 2 separate parts for any subject this year. Students will spend approximately 30% less time testing this year, depending on the grade and subject. So, for example, a typical 3rd grade student's end-of-year assessments will be 3 hours and 30 minutes shorter compared to last year. Resources available. The new blueprints are now available. You can get them at the State Department of Education's website and start using those to realign the curriculum guides and make sure that students are receiving the correct instruction to be aligned with our new assessment. There will be also practice tests available in August, and that will be on EdTools or Randa for those of us old dogs who still call it Randa, and the websites are listed. The full range of accommodations will still be available to make the test accessible for all students, and those decisions will be made by IEP teams on an individual basis, similar to last year. English learners will be required to participate in all assessments, with the one exception of students who are in their first year in a U.S. school. They may be exempt from the ELA, social studies, and U.S. history assessments. They will not be exempt from the math test, but that score may be exempt from the accountability calculation. ELs who waived the services, which are Ws, transition students for up to 4 years, all may receive the testing accommodations. Now, ELs will still take the WIDA Access assessment. This is the WIDA Access 2.0 for all EL students except kindergartners who take the WIDA Access. Now, the WIDA Access 2.0 is an online assessment, and the WIDA Access for kindergarten is designed kind of like a board game. It's on paper. And both the WIDA Access and WIDA Access 2.0 measure reading, writing, speaking, and listening. Those scores are used to determine eligibility for ESL services. Now for K2 students, Tennessee will offer a new assessment for second graders, and that will be aligned finally to our Tennessee standards. Questar will produce and score the second grade test, and there will not be a state-produced assessment for kindergarten or first grade. Now for this year, that second grade assessment is optional for districts. We're not sure yet what that means down the road, if that's going to be continued to be optional or if they will develop additional assessments for kindergarten and first grade. We'll have to wait and see about that. So for English Language Arts, there are 4 subparts, the first of which is a writing response to a text that will be required to be given first during the testing window. You can see the testing times there range from 195 minutes to 230 minutes. In math, there will be 3 subparts for all grades, and the first subpart will not allow a calculator. The rest of them will allow a calculator. Times range from 115 minutes to 145 minutes. In science, everything has stayed the same. One more year that we don't have to learn new science standards. There will be 2 subparts for grades 3 through 8, and biology and chemistry students will just have 1 part. Social studies, there will be no operational tests for grades 3 through 8. The U.S. History Assessment is operational and will be administered in 3 subparts, the first of which is a writing prompt. Now, the reason there will be another field test in grades 3 through 8 is simply because we did not have enough test items that had been field tested that aligned with our current Tennessee standards. There's a testing time chart that shows you some of the differences in times on the different grades and subjects. Just glancing down in math, you can see 90-minute reduction in time for grades 3 through 8, 20 to 25 minutes in math. Looking at high schools for English, there's a 2-hour reduction in time. The math test is an 1 and 5 minute reduction, and in U.S. history, 40 minutes. Don't know anyone involved who's not happy about that reduction in time. Finally, there will still be the modified assessment or TCAP-ALT for students with severe cognitive disabilities, and that format will be similar to the previous years. There will be a 2-month window in the spring for those portfolios to be completed. In the future, what you'll be doing is looking at drilling down these new blueprints in grade and subject level PLCs. So look forward to your questions. Have a wonderful day.